Nobody could touch this very aggressive German Shepherd until a little girl changed everything. The shelter hallway was dim and silent, except for the low, steady growl echoing from the farthest kennel, the kind of growl that warned, "Don't come closer." Behind thick iron bars stood Bruno, a scarred German Shepherd with wild eyes and a body coiled in tension. He hadn't let a single person touch him in months. He was dangerous, unpredictable, and scheduled for euthanasia in 3 days. Then a little girl, no older than 8, walked into the shelter. And everything changed. Lily Thompson had once been full of life, chatty, curious, always asking questions about birds and bugs and the way sunlight filtered through the trees. But that was before the accident. One rainy night, a speeding car ran a red light, and her father never came home. Lily, sitting in the back seat, had survived without a scratch, but something inside her had gone utterly still. She stopped speaking. Not a word. Not to her mother, her teachers, or the counselors who tried to coax her with picture books and soft toys. Diagnosis: selective mutism due to trauma. Clara, her mother, tried everything: therapy sessions, music classes, even sign language. But nothing reached the silent shell of her once vibrant daughter. One therapist, a gentle woman with gray hair and kind eyes, finally offered something different. "Maybe it's not people she needs right now," she said softly. "Maybe try dogs. Sometimes animals speak in ways we can't." And so, every Tuesday, Clara took Lily to the local animal shelter. It became a quiet ritual. Lily would wander the rows of barking, tail-wagging dogs, her small hand clinging to her mother's sleeve, eyes scanning each cage with a strange stillness. Most dogs rushed forward, eager for attention. Some barked. Some whimpered. Lily didn't react. She would only pause at a few kennels, watching, drawing in her little sketch pad, then walking on. Until one day, her eyes locked with a German Shepherd in the very back. Bruno wasn't just another rescue. He was the one no one talked about too loudly. Found abandoned in a backyard, emaciated and with an embedded rope scar in his neck, he had lashed out during his intake, biting 2 handlers. He growled at anyone who approached. He didn't bark like the others. He watched, waited, and when someone made the mistake of leaning too close, he struck. His file read like a warning label: extremely aggressive. No adoption potential. Do not approach without protection. He had been through 2 failed foster attempts. Both ended with frantic calls to the shelter to come retrieve him. Most of the staff were afraid of him. The younger volunteers never walked past his cage alone. And the shelter, already overcrowded and underfunded, couldn't justify keeping an unadoptable, dangerous animal forever. His euthanasia had been delayed 3 times due to full schedules and second thoughts, but the final date was set: Friday, 8 a.m. But Lily didn't know any of this. The first time she saw Bruno, he was pacing in tight circles, ears twitching at every noise. Thunder rolled outside, he flinched. Most kids would have backed away. Lily didn't. She walked right up to the kennel gate and simply stood there, her wide blue eyes fixed on his. Bruno stopped pacing. His body tensed, ears pricked. He didn't growl. He watched her. She watched him. Minutes passed. She didn't speak, didn't move. And then, slowly, Bruno did something no one had ever seen before. He backed into a corner, lowered himself to the ground, and, after a moment, closed his eyes. That evening, when Clara gently tugged her daughter away, Lily hesitated. Her sketchpad lay open on the floor. She had drawn a picture of the dog. A storm cloud hovered above him. A girl stood beside him holding a tiny umbrella. The next day, she came back. She sat. She watched. She drew. The bond grew quietly over the next 10 days. No one touched Bruno. No one dared. But Lily? She became a fixture. She never reached for him, never tried to feed him or talk to him. She just sat outside his kennel and drew, sometimes humming softly, sometimes just being there. Bruno began to wait for her. He would lie by the bars before she even arrived. When she left, he'd whine, not bark, not growl, just this low, mournful sound. Then came Thursday. A hectic day. One handler called in sick. Another had a broken wrist. A teenage intern named Jason, eager to help but new and inexperienced, was handed the cleanup checklist. Bruno's kennel had been mistakenly marked as vacant. No one double-checked. Jason whistled as he walked down the hallway, mop and bucket in hand. He stopped at Bruno's kennel, unlocked the gate, and stepped inside. The growl came first, deep, guttural. Then the lunge. Jason dropped the mop, screamed, and stumbled backward, barely avoiding the snapping jaws. Bruno was out. The entire shelter erupted. People ran. Doors slammed. A dog like that loose in the hallway wasn't just dangerous, it was potentially deadly. Staff grabbed tranquilizers, radios crackled, and in the chaos, no one noticed the little girl's sketchpad fall to the floor. Until she ran. Clara shouted. Someone tried to stop her. Too late. Lily sprinted toward the chaos, toward the growling, snarling animal everyone feared. She didn't hesitate. She stepped into the open space, right in Bruno's path. And then she spoke. Bruno. The room froze. Bruno froze. He turned to her. His breath was heavy. His body still tensed for attack. But his eyes changed. He whimpered. And then, in front of a dozen stunned staff, he lay down, chest to the floor, head between his paws. Whining. Lily walked to him. Her hand reached out, slow and gentle. She touched his face, and he leaned into it. The shelter's cameras had recorded the whole thing. What happened next was nothing short of a miracle. Bruno was evaluated by a behaviorist the very next day who said, "It's like she unlocked something in him I can't explain." The euthanasia order was officially canceled. Instead, Bruno was put into rehabilitation training with one condition: Lily had to be present. She was the key. And so, for weeks, Lily and Bruno trained side by side. He learned to trust, to follow commands, to stay calm when touched. And Lily began to speak again, slowly, at first, only to him. Whispered instructions, gentle reassurances. Then to her mother. Then to her teacher. Then, one day, to a group of children gathered around her at school. She found her voice because she gave it to him first, Clara would later say. And he gave her back the world. Bruno now lives in a small white house with a garden and a little girl who sings to him when it rains. He sleeps at the foot of her bed, rides in the back seat of her mother's car with his tongue out the window, and walks proudly beside her on their way to school. People still stop Clara at the grocery store or the dog park. "Is that the dog? The one from the video?" they ask. She smiles, nods, and watches as Lily gently scratches behind Bruno's ears. "They were both broken when they found each other," Clara says softly. "But somehow they made each other whole."